NASCAR actually makes common sense changes to practice and qualifying. Trackhouse prepares to take on the 24 Hours of Daytona. And did Reddit just leak Noah Gragson's new car number? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Oh, hey, I guess Junior Motorsports finally ran out of paint schemes to... Another one? No, you are not taking over my lead in 4 days in a row. Not happening, JRM. We've got lots of news to get to, and I mean lots. First, though, this episode is sponsored by Aluma. Aluma trailers are functional, durable, the perfect holiday gift this season. I'm sure Santa's going to love Aluma's ESA line of trailers. Like the 548 ESA utility trailer offers great functionality in an affordably priced package. Santa knows a good deal when he sees one, and the 548 can easily be towed by a mid-sized pickup, a small SUV, or even a team of reindeer. Or how about the 6310 ESA? Special promo price of $25.45. These trailers come standard with an extruded aluminum 4, swivel tongue jack, and aluminum tailgate. And finally, there's the 6812 ESA trailer. What can't this thing haul, from ATVs to garden tractors? Shoot, you could probably even haul Santa's sleigh. It's available at an amazing promo price of $37.05, and that includes a 5-year warranty. Check out all of these ESA trailers on Aluma's website. I'll link it down in the description below. Find an Aluma dealer near you. Thanks to Aluma for sponsoring the show this holiday season. Big news this morning, NASCAR has changed qualifying procedures for 2025. They've even added a few extra minutes of practice. Here's a simple breakdown. Practice sessions have now been extended from 20 to 25 minutes per group. Single round qualifying returns at all tracks except the 3 super speedways. At Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta, the top 10 fastest will compete in a second round for the pole position. But one of the big changes now is that starting position will solely be based on qualifying results. No more, Group A gets the outside, Group B gets the inside. No, much simpler. Drivers will have 1 lap to qualify on larger intermediate ovals, 2 laps at short tracks. Road courses will still be group qualifying with multiple cars on track at a time. NASCAR's report did not explicitly say how the qualifying order will be determined, but it does say the practice groups will be divided based on NASCAR's metric, where they rate each car based 70% on where they finished the previous race, 30% based on where they're at in owner's points. I would imagine that is also going to set the qualifying order every week if I had to guess. There will be an extended 50-minute practice session for select events next year, including the Daytona 500. That's right, finally, a 50-minute practice session is scheduled for Wednesday before Daytona 500 qualifying. Thank you, NASCAR, especially next year with potentially 8 to 10 open entries. Getting some track time before one of the most important qualifying sessions of the year, that's a necessity. That's a must. I'm glad NASCAR finally made this change. You can see on the screen other events that will have extended practice. Of course, new tracks like Mexico City, Rockingham, Lime Rock Park. Makes sense. I'm also glad the Truck Series will have 8 full practice sessions this year. That's roughly a third of their schedule. Young drivers desperate for real seat time. This is great for their development, or at least it's moving in the right direction. We're getting closer to returning to normal at long last. Cup Series director Brad Moran admitted as much in a statement. He said, quote, "I think increased track time is going to be welcomed by the industry. We've gotten a lot of feedback throughout the year, and we made a couple of adjustments throughout the year, and we really wanted to take a whole fresh look at it. A lot of this came into play back in COVID when we tightened things up. So we're kind of going back a little to what we used to do again. We're going to have a little more practice, which is obviously better for the fans and the partners. Personally, I still want a little more practice, a little more track time during the weekend, but it's nice to see the needle moving back in the right direction. And the return of single car qualifying, simplifying that process, I think is a big win. Qualifying had gotten far too complicated, especially with different groups and calculations. It looks like next year will be way more straightforward. That's a good thing. So all in all, I like this news. Some good changes. Again, moving the right direction. That's awesome. One final graphic I'll show you guys. Might want to take a screenshot of this one. On the Cup Series side, Fox Sports will broadcast the Clash, Daytona 500, and All-Star Race practice and qualifying sessions, while Prime Video will stream every other practice qualifying session for the first half of the season. Then HBO Max and True TV will broadcast practice and qualifying for the entire second half of the Cup season. Xfinity, it's simple. All practice and qualifying will be on the CW all year, and for the trucks, Fox Sports will handle practice and qualifying coverage. Let me know in the comments, are you a fan of these changes? A little more practice? Simplified qualifying? Or is there a different format or structure you would prefer to see? Let me know down in the comment section below. This post has popped up in the past 24 hours. I believe it was originally posted to Reddit. This graphic shows a Noah Gragson Rush Truck Center's number 4 paint scheme. I could not personally verify the authenticity of this graphic, but it's very believable. It looks very convincing. We've heard rumors for months that Noah Gragson was going to drive the 4 car this coming season, front row, move Todd Gilliland from the 38 to the 34, which I think signaled Gragson would get the 4-4-34, consistent branding. Rush Truck Centers, of course, sponsored Gragson at Stewart-Haas. They were a longtime Stewart-Haas partner, so I hope this is legit. It looks legit to me. It's awesome to see Rush Truck Centers following Gragson to a different team. Good pickup for front row. The only thing that looks fake about this is those contingency decals in front of the door number. I thought NASCAR said those were banned, forbidden, lost to time. Let me know if you think this is real, or maybe the entire online NASCAR fan base has been duped the past 24 hours. I guess time will tell. But speaking of Front Row Motorsports, and I mentioned Todd Gilliland, we know that Gilliland will have a new crew chief in 2025. Today, Front Row announced Chris Lawson is rejoining the team. He'll work with Gilliland on the number 34 car in 2025. I love this signing. Chris Lawson has history with both Todd Gilliland and Front Row Motorsports. Chris Lawson won a Truck Series championship with Front Row 2 years ago, right? With Zane Smith. Before Zane Smith, he worked with Todd Gilliland in trucks for a couple of years. The results were mixed. They did get a win, but the past couple of years, I think Chris Lawson's stock has increased significantly. Obviously won that truck title with Zane Smith, went up to the Cup Series this last year with Rick Ware Racing, and working with Justin Haley and then Corey LaJoie. I mean, he had a 23rd place average finish this year with Justin Haley. This was the best the 51 car has ever looked. Chris Lawson, I think, deserves a lot of the credit for that. So cool to see Lawson and Front Row reuniting, Gilliland and Lawson reuniting. I think Chris Lawson is solid. Too early to say if he's like the next big thing, but I think he's got some positive momentum behind him. So I'm looking forward to seeing Todd Gilliland, Chris Lawson. What can they do? Todd Gilliland was 22nd in points this last year with Ryan Burgundy. 22nd in points, not too bad. Can they break into the top 20? I think that's a realistic goal for 2025. Gonna keep things rolling still. A couple more stories I'd like to discuss. Ty Majeski was fined $12,500 last month for skipping NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship 4 Media Day. See, Media Day this year happened to land right on Election Day, and Ty Majeski was in his home state of Wisconsin voting. I honestly didn't know Ty Majeski had appealed the fine, but yesterday, the independent appeals panel ultimately sided with NASCAR. They upheld the fine, saying in a statement, quote, "The driver failed to meet contractual agreement with NASCAR, one of the most, if not most, important media obligations of the entire season." So, okay, this is an odd scenario here. First and foremost, the independent appeals panel did their job in this case. I think they got the ruling exactly right. Their job is to interpret the rule book, and this rule is pretty black and white. So they did their job. That's not who I have issue with. That's not who fans should take issue with. The issue is with NASCAR. Yes, Ty Majeski missed an important media obligation, and I completely understand NASCAR not wanting to set the precedent that it's okay to skip contractual media obligations. NASCAR had every right to fine Ty Majeski, but I wish there'd been more of an open dialogue in this case, because it's not a good look to fine someone for exercising their constitutional right to vote on election day. Like, it's not exactly on brand for NASCAR, one of the most patriotic sports organizations in the world, to take this kind of stance. Yes, Majeski broke the black and white rule, and according to this post from reporter Bob Pockrass, Fox Sports, he did not tell NASCAR why he was skipping media day. This report suggests that if NASCAR knew he was voting, they might have worked with him to figure something out. If that's true, that is on Ty Majeski. If you're going to skip an important obligation, you at least need to provide a doctor's note, explain exactly where you're going, what you're doing. Why can't you be there? But by the time NASCAR handed Majeski that fine, they knew where he was. They knew he had gone to vote. So, I don't know. I feel like both sides could have been more transparent. Majeski could have explained where he was going. NASCAR could have asked, well, can you do a Zoom interview? In the modern day, it wouldn't have been hard for Majeski to set aside 30 minutes and, hop on a Zoom call with reporters. That at least may have been a compromise. Just poor communication all around. I don't think this is a much bigger story than that. Majeski missed an obligation. NASCAR had the right to fine him. I think communication could have been better to avoid this bad publicity. NASCAR does not employ Ty Majeski, so there was some discussion online about the legality of this. He doesn't work for NASCAR. They have a very different agreement. Just bad communication. That's the way I chalk it up. I don't think it's much bigger than that. Finally, we'll end on a more exciting, uplifting story. Trackhouse is headed to the Rolex 24. Today, they announced they're teaming up with TF Sport to run a Chevy Corvette in the GTD class next month. That's exciting on its own. 91 car, great. But the driver lineup, whoo! All stars all around. Shane Van Gisbergen, Scotty Mack, Connor Zilisch, and Ben Keating. Two New Zealand stars, one now on the NASCAR circuit, the other IndyCar. Connor Zilisch, up-and-coming rising star who won last year's Rolex 24, I believe in the LMP2 class. And of course, Ben Keating, sports car veteran, there for experience, extremely talented. What a lineup. Gosh, I don't follow IMSA closely enough to be able to confidently predict how they're going to perform. I do know their driver lineup will not be their weakness. Their drivers are outstanding. Can the car hold up? Is the team prepared? That's the question. It's a 24-hour race after all. It is a grind. It tests equipment. It tests focus. That's really my only question. The drivers are going to be fantastic. I mean, that's a phenomenal lineup, a fan favorite lineup, no doubt. I hope they do great things. Trackhouse continues to be one of the most fun things going on in American motorsports currently, starting 2025 off with a bang. Let me know down in the comments below what your expectations for Trackhouse in the Rolex 24 at Daytona are. What do you expect to see from Scott, SVG, Connor Zilisch? Covered a lot of ground in this episode, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more NASCAR discussion, news, rumors, and so much more all year long. Big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters as well. I should have another video out tomorrow. Got something fun planned. I'll talk to you then. Have a great rest of your Thursday, y'all. Thanks for watching.